Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. So we've been covering the Andor series quite extensively in recent weeks, usually focusing on the rebel side of things, Cassian, Saw Gerrera, Mon Mothma, and so on. But today my dear friends, we're actually going to be talking about the Imperial side of the show, specifically a rumour that's re-emerged from discussing film that Grand Moff Tarkin is going to feature in the Andor show. This rumour first appeared nearly 2 years ago, but has resurfaced in recent days with other outlets reporting on it too. As we know, Grand Moff Tarkin was recreated for Rogue One: A Star Wars Story years after the late Peter Cushing passed away, so in order to bring the iconic Star Wars villain back, some impressive work was done for the 2016 movie. First of all, the scenes were shot with actor Guy Henry, and afterwards, it was up to industrial lights and magic to visually craft Cushing's face, using old footage from A New Hope as well as the mocap that occurred while filming. Henry's head was then removed altogether before the new rendering was put in. This use of CGI was controversial among some fans, and some found it to be rather clunky and awkward. But given how far the technology and ILM have come in the 6 years since the movie released, the technology used to recreate Tarkin in the Andor series, if this rumour is true, is going to be so much more advanced. And in a way, I can't imagine how the Andor series could not include him. He's such a pivotal part of the Empire at this stage, and features in Rogue One spin-off material like the novel Catalyst, which to some extent could have been used as source material for the show. And this brings up the inevitable question of what other Imperials we might see in the Andor series. Very soon after the show was first announced, Ben Mendelsohn was rumoured to appear. Now, director Krennic at this point would have already tracked down Galen Erso and would be acting as director of advanced weapons research as the Death Star project comes to fruition. Something which I've not heard too many people put forward is the idea that if Krennic appears in Andor, we could see Thrawn as well. Now, we know he's set to make his first live-action appearance in the Ahsoka show, but they could allude to him in Andor. They don't even need to show him, just mention him. And the reason I'm saying all of this is because Krennic's path crossed with the Chiss mastermind in Star Wars Rebels as well as in Thrawn Treason in the years leading up to Rogue One. They primarily butted heads over Imperial defense, and it all began when Krennic sifted through some files, some Imperial intelligence files, and accidentally learned that the planet of Mustafar was the site where Vader had been injured and lost the use of his limbs. That information was strictly confidential. It caused a bit of a stir, but in spite of this, Krennic was successful in gaining continued support for his project, Project Stardust, the Death Star. Grand Admiral Thrawn was then informed by Tarkin that his TIE Defender multi-role starfighter project was at risk, and implied that its future was uncertain as Krennic was being persuasive with the potential of the Death Star. Krennic had to persuade Tarkin and Palpatine the project was still worth the investment. He even tried to undermine Thrawn's abilities and attempted to convince Tarkin that Thrawn was of no use to the Empire. So a really interesting back and forth, an interesting tension that could be explored in Andor. While a lot of this took place closer to Rogue One, acknowledgement of Thrawn's activities would be a welcome inclusion to the show. And this brings us on to Vice Admiral Rampart from the Bad Batch. Some fans think they've spotted him in the Andor teaser trailer, but in my opinion, it's not him. That doesn't mean he won't appear though. We know there is potentially going to be some overlap between the Bad Batch Season 2 and Andor, not necessarily timeline wise, but characters, planets and themes, and Rampart could be one of them. In the novel Tarkin, there is an Imperial marshalling depot called Rampart Station, implying it was named after the Vice Admiral. I would love for him to make his way into live action in this show, and the possibilities that could bring with it are enormous. But as I say my dear friends, all of this is just speculation. There is no evidence saying he will definitely show up. Now the last time we saw Rampart was just before the destruction of Kamino. He informed Governor Tarkin that all essential personnel had been evacuated from the planet. He informed Tarkin that the chief scientist and cloning technology were now under Imperial control. And as we saw Nala say, and much of the cloning technology was mitigated to Mount Tantis. After Topoka City was bombarded, Rampart ordered the Star Destroyers to leave Kamino and make their way to the rendezvous point. We see Rampart again in the Bad Batch Season 2 trailer, and there is still plenty of story to tell with him in canon. I really hope his fate isn't just left animation, and we do see him eventually in live action as well. So those are some of the key Imperial officers I really hope we get a glimpse at in Andor. We do of course have plenty of new ones coming our way, as the teaser trailer showed us. The series is also giving us insight into the ISB, and possibly other secretive factions of the Empire too, ones we're not as familiar with on screen. Now we're coming up to halfway through July, and we should be getting a full Andor trailer, the second trailer, in the next couple of weeks. So now my dear Mandalorians, we have to give a huge congratulations to the Book of Boba Fett for earning 4 Emmy nominations. The Television Academy announced their 2022 Emmy Award nominations, and it included some really big surprises. Marvel Studios received a whopping 19 nominations for Loki, What If, Hawkeye, and Moon Knight. Another surprise nomination came in the form of the Mandalorian spin-off The Book of Boba Fett. The Television Academy deemed the series worthy of 4 nominations, and these included Outstanding Sound Editing for a Comedy or Drama Series, Outstanding Special Visual Effects, Outstanding Fantasy and Sci-Fi Costumes, and Outstanding Stunt Coordination for a Drama Series, Limited or Anthology Series, or Movie. And you know, say what you will about the Book of Boba Fett, with all of these series there are so many talented people behind the scenes, especially in costume design, makeup, visual effects, stunt coordination, and so on. So all of these people that make the show what it is, make all of the series what they are, deserve that recognition, so I'm really happy about this. It's important to acknowledge that it's not just the actors, the directors, and the writers, but also the folks behind the scenes who often don't get credited. And so finally guys, Alden Ehrenreich has been cast in the Marvel series Ironheart. Outside of Brave New World, the actor has not done much since his role as young Han Solo in 2018's Solo: A Star Wars Story. There have been plenty of fan demands to bring him back to the galaxy far, far away for a Solo sequel, but Kathleen Kennedy shot down that possibility in Vanity Fair when she said she learned a valuable lesson in not recasting. I disagree though, and I would love to see him back in the franchise. He did an excellent job in that spin-off movie. In either case, according to Deadline, he's now been cast in a key role for the Marvel series Ironheart. We do know that Ehrenreich will share some screen time with Dominique Thorne, who is geared up to star as the titular hero, along with Lyric Ross, Harper Anthony, Manny Montana, and Anthony Ramos. And even though this is not Star Wars, it's good to see he's still being hired by Disney. So fingers crossed, we might see him again in Star Wars if Solo does get a spin-off, maybe in the Lando series. So share your thoughts guys in the comments down below of everything we spoke about. But with that said my dear friends, that brings us to the end of today's Star Wars news update. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a good one. I was once again going through the Rogue One visual guide, and I come across this guy, a guy called Kazin Bog. Now, instantly I thought to myself, this guy has no head. And I thought, okay, that's quite a cool concept. He's part of the Decraniated, or something similar, which is what Ponda Barbara and Dr. Cornelius were doing to innocent civilians and willing participants, but then I thought about it some more, and I realised, imagine if you're the guy who was hired to play Kazin Bog. It's around 2014, 2015, early production on Rogue One, and just as a lot of actors who get a role in Star Wars, they're just given the name, maybe a character description, you assume you're an alien of sorts, and you think, even though they're going to put makeup on me, it's still going to be me. I can still point to that character in the future and say, hey look, I was in that film. And then imagine you're this guy, and Lucasfilm's like, yeah, we're kind of not going to use your face. And you're like, oh, maybe they'll do like a digital reconstruction, or I'll be so unrecognizable as an alien. They're like, no, we just don't need your head for this. And they literally digitally remove the aspect of the character that really makes it definable as yourself. I don't know, I feel pretty bad for this guy. Oh, that's pretty bad. I mean, at least the rest of his body's in there and he can say he was in Star Wars. But out of all of these people, I think he got the worst deal. Look, you can recognize this blue guy. You know, he's still got features. Okay, not too many aliens, but you get my point. Kazin Bog.